The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussion.
Back for more. You're here, so you're expecting something to happen. Bunkhouse Stampede, that's what's happening. Kliq This, Kevin Nash podcast. He's Kevin, I'm Sean. How was your week?
Good.
They beat you up last weekend with your road schedule. You did 10 stops. You were you were a shell of a man.
Actually, last weekend I was, or this weekend I was in Cincinnati. I did a horror con in Cincinnati. Me and X-Pac signed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that was, I tell you, man, fucking, as you get older, those things, putting on a smile for 3 days is...
What did people run into on Sunday at about 2 p.m.?
You know what? There was this guy. This guy walks up to me, and he looks down at my table, and I've got, at this point, I just want to say first off, man, that the NWO fans are so loyal. I love them it's just I'm so blessed to have to had that as part of my life. And it's still a part of my life. It's for life. I mean, that NWO will go with me to my grave. And so most of the pictures were pretty picked over by, the Super Shredders were gone. Any of the Punisher stuff was gone. I don't have any dog pictures yet. I probably need to get some dog photos. But anyway, so this guy walks over and kind of looks like Simon from Simon and Garfunkel.
Okay, Paul Simon.
Yeah, looks like Paul Simon. He's kind of, like look at this. It's kind of got this, never really was much of a wrestling fan. I mean, I watched it periodically. I said, yeah, I'm kind of the same way on gay porn. And he stops and looks at me, and then looks back down at my table. And I'm thinking, like, okay, at this point, he's going to spin and just tell me to F off. And, but
He rubs one out.
But no one ever does. And nobody, that's like, I'll get 1,000 tweets like, I'll jump if I ever see you there, I'll punch you like the old man. I tell you what, boy, I've never had anybody come up and just say, you know what, I'm that guy. I'm the one that's been telling you about. I'm coming. So the guy like looked around, and then he went to his back pocket and dropped $50 for an autograph, and it was a wrestling shot. And I'm like, wow, like it's almost like is he like? Did he want to lick my boot? Did he like make me lick your boot?
Yeah, maybe a fetish thing.
Like an ass. Okay, now I'll pay $50.
But so he's clearly a wrestler. Either he was a wrestling fan, or he's got a fetish. He always wanted to meet a wrestler in person. If you offered him the boot, he probably would have taken it. You probably would have had a. He probably would have
offered
had
him 11 soft. He'd have taken that too.
Well, that goes without saying.
Do we have is Manscaping on our agenda tonight?
Not this week. Not this week.
Okay, so I have to say a couple of things.
Okay.
Because we covered Manscaped, but I've been manscaping for as long as probably manscaping has been. It used to be called. We used to call it trimming the shaft of your penis up to the base, so it
add an inch or two
minimum. And then on top of that, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna trim your shit up to the base, and then you're gonna leave what, the kid and play afro above that? No, you gotta knock that shit down. So it's take it up to this is my analogy. You go buy a Christmas tree. That thing stays in your house for what, a month?
Yeah.
Every time you buy it, the guy puts he sets it on the table before they put it in that wrapping, and he takes the small chainsaw and he trims down the bottom of that tree, knocks all those branches off, so you got a nice, like, big foot you can put in your tree stand and just grind those like, you want me to take it up a little higher? Make it seem like you got more tree down there? Yeah, I can knock it off, baby. So you got to have that. And then on top of that, you've got to have the Pebble Beach putting surface above it.
Right.
And then we've already made reference to Grandma's mustache. You definitely you can't teabag somebody. I mean, everybody knows there's one string on a teabag and it doesn't go in your mouth. So you got to trim all that. That's all got to be trimmed out. And we're talking and guys will say, yeah, but I'm not seeing anybody. Yeah, what if you bumped into some girl?
Yeah.
And like you got lucky. It's just, you know what? The stars are aligned, and here you come, and you go up to the room, and you go up to her crib, whatever, and you pull your shit down, and it's just like, and she looks at you like, does the rest of you turn into a werewolf at any time, or like? So you gotta be ready, and then just the odor, the amount of sweat and piss on a daily basis that's packed in to what they sell you as bamboo, which is actually lycra. I mean, have you ever smelled your underwear at the end of the day? Jesus.
Try not to, but
well, now I've got toner and deodorant. So I mean,
exactly.
yeah. But I was just saying that guys out there, that have this lust of like, I really don't need to trim. Yeah, I promise you, you need to trim it, because the most important person you date in your life is yourself. Right?
Hmm.
If you're going to twist one off, do you want to twist one off with it? I mean, you want a good looking cock down there that you're throwing.
You don't want to sift through.
No.
And by the way, congratulations for being the first person to sexualize buying a fucking Christmas tree. Anytime I'm on the fucking Christmas tree lot and the motherfucker's shaving the stump, I'm going to think back to the gay porn plot that we could whip up here.
Like exactly that.
Under the Mistletoe, starring Jake Strongbow.
You want me to take a tip on that? What? They always ask, you got to tip the guy when he cuts your shaft. So,
tie my cock to the roof.
I'm just saying.
Let's talk about feedback from last week. Very passionate outpouring about pizza and whatnot. Let's start with Tim Fife, who says, love this week's episode. Never thought I would get 2 weeks worth of dildo talking and weed talking all in the same pod. This is why I love this podcast. LOL. Keep up the fantastic work on the pod. Thank you, Tim. Chris, the tagline for the podcast should be, come for the bunkhouse, stay for 11 soft. I'm good for that.
That's what she said.
WWEDXECW says, I love the fact that Kevin is seeing the human side of Punk. He literally snapped. We all do. We're all human. Sometimes you got to let it out.
Plus, you got to, at 42 years old, I mean, Phil's tired. Phil's tired. He's beat up.
Well, you were in the ring at what, 55 or something?
I was in the ring. I was in the ring at 55 when he was cutting the promo on me. Kliq, I can hear your knees. LOL, thought you were dead. Yeah, that motherfucker's cutting that promo on me, and he sits there at 42 years old. Fucking, I guess in retrospect, when I actually thought about it, I'm like, oh no, he didn't lose his shit. That's toxic fucking shock. He didn't pull his tampon out. He's fucking got toxic shock syndrome. I thought about that. I said, motherfucker. I said, I looked up, I Googled him. I said, 40 fucking 2. Dude didn't wrestle for 10 fucking years. It's like a 75 Eldorado with 102 miles on it. Motherfucker, don't tell me you're tired. Don't tell me you're 75. Shut the fuck up. And on top of that, all you guys at AEW, you bunch of dumb motherfuckers. You bunch of dumb motherfuckers. You're 1099s. You know what that means? That means you got you were painting somebody's fucking house and you guys got into a fight and they told you you're all suspended.
You work for yourself.
Wasn't it after the fucking deal? You guys can't work that out. You guys are gonna. But I haven't heard that if they're being suspended without pay.
No, they're with, as far as I know.
So they're the fucking cop that fucking shoots the guy 23 times in the back and then sits
internal investigation.
Yeah, it sits at his desk. That's an effective way to fucking manage. What a bunch of shit.
I think maybe that's why some people had questions about the work, the validity of it, because they were suspended with pay. So maybe
how was Chris Daniels
for
fucking
show?
How was Chris Daniels and fucking Pat suspended? What did they do?
I was just going to ask what Pat Buck did and
came in with. Yeah, I actually heard he came in with nunchucks. They both garage Ito'd the fuck out of him. Well, I don't get it.
Who threw the chair?
I heard Punk's buddy.
It wasn't one of them. I could see that, but
No,
I think they were breaking it up. I don't get it.
Imagine Pat coming in and just throwing a chair off one of the young bucks' heads. I don't know. That whole thing is not, so now it's got to the point where it was news today that they pulled those characters off the Wednesday show or whatever the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
but this thing's out of steam already.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's out of steam, and
I got a little criticism. I've been watching some fucking wrestling. I watched Raw, and number one, they had Mysterio's kid. You know, he's turned fucking heel now, and he's fighting Edge, and it was one of those deals. There's a couple. What's my ravioli guy's name? Johnny.
The guy that filmed it.
No, the restaurant I was eating at.
Oh, Gargano.
Yeah, Gargano. Yeah. So Gargano comes back after a 9-month hiatus. We'll go here first. Comes back after a 9-month hiatus, and he's working with Gable. And I'm throwing a flag on Gable unless Kurt Angle said you can just do my gimmick fucking verbatim. so I'm throwing a fucking flag on him. It's true. It's damn true. So they have a match, and when Brian wrestled Hangman at AEW, it was like Hangman's first time that he defended the belt. And Daniel worked his arm. And he was they went like fucking 60 minutes. Well, he worked his arm at the 20-minute point. And it was like, the next thing you know, like Hangman has to use that fucking arm because that's his fucking weapon to go home. So Gargano they got a pretty long match. I'd say they probably went 23, 24 minutes. I don't know for sure. But I mean, it seemed like it was a pretty good duration. And I enjoyed them. A lot of fucking like really good chain and reversals, and which I didn't particularly used to like, but at least there's a feel of
believability, at least there, instead of holding somebody, helping them up to the top.
And Gargano fucking can. I mean, he can grab. I mean, there was one time when Gable fucking got him in the what the fucking the ankle lock, and he got the wrong foot, and the guy fucking gave him the Iggy, and he fucking switched around real quick, and got the other foot, but Gable starts working fucking the leg, Gargano, just boom, 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 and fucking Gargano's selling the fuck out of it, and Gable's fucking, he's an animal, man. Like he just fucking he just keeps picking, and now it's time, but it's not time to go home. So now Gargano fucking has to do the fucking the biggest thing I hate in life. You crawled around the ring and you couldn't get up on your fucking leg until it's time to do high spots. And motherfucking, then that leg fucking miraculously heals. And then when he rolled out at the end, I said, at least go back to like the cell of the leg here. Go back to the cell leg here. No, he doesn't. He comes down. Theory hits him with the Money in the Bank. So then we go into the Theory Kevin Owens segment. And Theory goes out and he's like, he was Vince's chosen one. Everybody knew that. And guy's got a good look. You know, I mean, I could see that, you know, and Kevin Owens goes down and does a great blistering promo. And, you know, one of the lines was, you know, like, he's been in this business for, I don't know how many years, Kevin, I'll just say 20.
Yeah.
And he's seen hundreds of guys like come through like him and not be the guy. He says, guys like me, guys like Gargano, he says, we're 1 in a million that make it. Like, you know, and so do you get it? And Theory ends up throwing up a bicep shot, and Owen smacks him in the face. So now that it's like they're going to go. I don't know I don't know anything about this Theory guy, but if that first exchange of punches, if that's any indication of how many times he's been in a street fight, I'm going to say -3. He's never been in a fight in his life. And Owen is trying not to just own him, but they go and it end up and Owens Kevin's fucking potatoing the shit out of him, man. So they finish it up. They have a break. They break it apart. And I'm thinking to myself like, God, man, the camera angles are moving and shit. And I can't see whether or not it looked like Owen hit him with a couple of stiff ones. And I'm thinking, please, man, and I'm seeing Theory's back. The camera, the handheld comes around, and Theory's got blood coming out of his nose, and a little bit of blood. I don't know if it's in his mouth or if it just came from his nose into his mouth. But they shot up to Owen, and Owen says, "Yeah, what was he say? He says, yeah, I busted your nose. That's just for starch, you bitch." And I was just like, like that's. And when you look back at it, it's just like it told a double story. It told the story that was written, but then it also told the story that Kevin cut in the promo, which is you need to look in the mirror because you're not all that, and he ain't. He don't. It doesn't look like he can fight. Then we go to the main event.
Well, hold on. Before you get off that, I want to touch some. You're Kevin Owens. No, you're you, and you're exchanging with somebody, okay? And they're soft, they're showing light, and you're supposed to be taking these and returning. Do you go a little stiff to let them know? You got to amp this up.
If you can't throw a punch, and I think it looks like shit,
right?
That's why I always cut you off of that big knee, and then I would waffle you, and get you to a corner to where I could do something, and then turn you around, because a lot of guys just need that. Like a lot of guys have even in the indie circuits are used to getting a guy in the corner. And, you know, going up on one rope and 1, 2, whatever they have to, but there's more of a comfort spot of you having that guy with his back into the turnbuckle and you measuring and throwing punches as opposed to what I call a hockey fight, and which I hate because if you throw 4 or 5 punches and you're a grown man, if and the other guy throws 4 or 5 and you hit each other in the face, that's where I'm going to with this last segment. Like you're going to get some you're going to get an egg in your ear. I mean, you're going to bust a guy up.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But it was funny because Edge in the last match, he gets Dominik and he ties him up in the ropes. So he's the crucified gimmick, where you're tied up in the ropes. And Edge throws like 2 or 3. I mean, Edge started the match off. He threw like 2 or 3 like punches on the move that were just, I mean, looked like they didn't land, but I mean, just because I stopped it and watched it back, and it was just like, man, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, of course.
He's the reason that he's in the Hall of Fame. He's really good, and he's so good that he has Dominik in the ropes, and he throws like 2 or 3 punches in Dominik's face, and realizes like, if this was a shoot, I'd bust him open.
Yeah.
And so he changes it to smacks. And I could see him register. I could see his brain register that. Like, no, I can't continue to do this. I'm thinking to myself, like, why wouldn't the referee at that point, like, why doesn't he jump in there?
Well, that's a good point. And this comes down to what I was going to ask you before about training. You were talking about telling the story and the leg, right? And you're selling your leg for 25 minutes. The 26th minute can't see you bound up 3 turnbuckles and propel yourself off into the air because it's counter to everything you've established. It should be a wrestling school thing. Isn't it like you've worked in the ring more than 6 months thing too? There are veterans in the locker room. There are trainers there, producers there. Is this not something that would be stressed? Nobody would pull someone aside? Or is it just still all about the visual dynamics of the circus come wrestling ring?
I know that, it's funny. This T-shirt's got like a weird neck bit going here. Anybody else see this?
You're right. No, what are you doing there?
Well, it's like I don't know, man. Actually, it's the opposite way because I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
it's like stuck on.
It was off. Was it off center?
I don't know. It just.
You got a little of the Gaylord Perry under there. Maybe it's sticking.
No, I trained back today, so my back's all jacked, so I just pulling the material, brother. No, I think one of the things, and I don't know what the schedule is now, but it was such a different atmosphere or such a different situation when we worked, especially in the WWF now but when it was the WWF, when Brett was champ and in like 93 and that era where you would go on the road and say, I would work 60 matches against Double J before we would, because, you only had 5 pay-per-views. So you didn't touch on a pay-per-view for, like by the time somebody saw you have a TV match with somebody, you had already worked every kink possible out. So see, I don't know if these guys have touched before. I doubt they have because Gargano has been gone for 9 months. So I doubt that these 2 guys have touched. So they're in the back putting this thing together. They're both pros. And it's like, you're going to get a go home. When the referee says, you say, you sit in the back and it's just like, referee will come up, you say, what do you guys want? What do you guys want for a cue? and say, give us a 3-minute go home, because that's how long it's going to take us to take it to the finish. So, I know this is probably news to some of you out there, but this shit's timed because there's commercials and all kind of stuff. It's a kind of complex little deal. So yeah, it's not like MMA where you just beat the hell out of the guy. I'd love to for them to have to I'd like them to just. I was thinking about that too. It's just like how much easier would it be if professional wrestling was in the MMA, like you had a 5-minute like a 5-minute
like a round system.
Yeah, because like imagine how MMA would be if you just rang the bell and it went until somebody won or somebody lost, and the same in pro boxing.
To the death.
No fucking. I mean, can you imagine pro boxing? Those heavyweights, those guys by like 240 in the first round, are ready for oxygen. So, I used to always like when Ali would stand. Yeah, he'd stand
in the corner.
Yeah, he'd stand between rounds.
So some guys used to do that. Yeah. So who
else?
Foreman
did it because I think he was so.
He was
big.
making a point. That's when he came back, though, right? Didn't he do that? When
I just think he was so big, just getting up and down. He was like, man, I ain't doing this shit. But no, but it was actually again, I mean, I'm just pointing some things out. But I mean, it's just like I said, I don't know if those two guys have ever touched before. Now, if you haven't ever touched before, then you still have to. There's still no excuse for, unless you're doing Monty Python and you're just merely a flesh wound, But
if it's supposed to be a believable leg injury, I would imagine that there's somebody backstage in the locker room to pull someone aside and say, "Good match, but listen, if you're going to invest all this time in the story of the leg, you got to finish with it."
Yeah, because you can
change
work.
Up your
you
finish
can
or
work.
Fall
Yeah,
off the.
you can work a different body part. You can work it. You could work the arm, and when that doesn't work, then go and do something where he misses it and he injures his leg, which makes you smell blood and go after the leg, which is closer to the finish, and then that work that you put in. But then you almost have to come out of that with a small package or something, and
that's what I was exactly thinking. That everyone knows the finisher's coming from the top, but can't get up, falls down, grabs him, rolls him up.
That's what me and Brett did with that match that when I lost the title. I couldn't get. I'd beaten Brett to the point where he couldn't take it, but he basically played possum, then gave me this actually a large package. So,
NWO for Life says, thanks for the shout out, guys. For Christ's sakes, though, it was the Western States Heritage title. That makes it even funnier being in Long Island. Another hokey thing they did was fuck up. I didn't know this. Fuck up the time of the show. Show started before the actual time on the tickets. I researched this. Here's the deal. The card was advertised as a 7 p.m. start. Many of the tickets listed 8 p.m. on the ticket. You imagine this is a pay-per-view advertised as a 7 o'clock start. The tickets all say 8. And on top of that, the show actually started in the ring at 6:35. The show ended at 9. People showed up at 8. The show went off the air at 9, which means anyone who showed up at 8 o'clock only got to see an hour of action. Unbelievable.
And they wonder what they drew. They wonder why they drew 6,000 people.
Well,
they had no idea. That was they probably had 11,000 there by the time the night was over. Early count was 6. They just went with that. 6.
If they just left the doors open by 11 p.m., they probably would have sold the joint out. The Boss, y'all forgot one of the wildest frontmen ever, Phil Anselmo, best frontman from
we
Pantera.
Said the Boss. We said, oh
no, no, the Boss is the person who wrote in.
Okay.
They were saying Phil Anselmo of Pantera and Jonathan Davis of Korn and Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit, even though we know he's a douche, is what he says. A lot of people we could have put on that. I'm sure we left people off.
Yeah.
Top of our head kind of thing.
Yeah. And the thing was, too, like somebody said, well, it was frontmen doesn't take the women out. But I'm like, yeah, but we were just, like when we had the conversation, it wasn't, it's not like we sit here we're having a conversation. We're at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we have 45 days that we put this thing together where we're,
Some weeks it feels like that, though. No, there were women we could have put on. Debbie Harry, Blondie. I mean, we could actually.
I would have put Pat Benatar in there. I mean, there's a lot of women,
Who was the one Tristan gave us from
Delora who? Dolores.
Okay, right.
She's from the Cranberries. She passed.
What's somebody else too? There was a more recent
Who's the girl too? The dark-headed girl that sings like. What is it? She's pretty and she seems like she sounds like like everybody else does that sings that style, but then she. Oh, okay.
That's the one we got props for. That's the one we got props for from people.
Yeah, because
who I was saying. I was repeating Tristan.
Okay, yeah, because I remember the first time I saw her, it was almost disturbing.
Max Randall says Sean Oliver's a man of culture, New Jersey native, talking about grandma pies. I know he has good taste. Absolutely, grandma pies. Square pizzas, Kev. That brings us to John G. Square is 100% Detroit style. Come on, Kev. Buddy's is a Detroit landmark. Buddy's, Louis, Cloverleaf, via 313 in Austin has done a great job at replicating Buddy's. Go ahead.
Okay. So you can't have if three places and you have to realize when I grew up, Detroit was the 5th largest city in the country. Okay, which I believe that, like maybe Houston is now. I don't know, but for years it was Philadelphia. But I think Houston. I mean, Houston might be 4th now.
Mm-hmm.
But if 4 restaurants in a city that size serve a square pizza, that's not Detroit pizza. That's those 4 people's pizza. Little Caesars is who you called, who came to your house with the little plastic Little Caesar on the top with the pizza through the spear. He's a guy that came to your house. Woody's didn't come to your house. Lindo's, fucking Tommy John's, all these little hole-in-the-wall bars. I wouldn't go to 6 Mile to get a pizza to save my life. Okay? Period. I'm going to walk up to the end of Manning Drive and get my 2 cheese pizzas for $5, and that's just it.
So when I was in college, I think it was up to $9.99. But when you were a younger man, $5.
I checked. I Googled. They no longer went for $5, and I want to think it was 97 or 98. So 2 years into our NWO run, that's when there's no longer $5 pizzas. Boy, I tell you what. So then I check, when did Little Caesars make its first square pizza and consider it Detroit style? 2013. The Tesla was made in 2008. So fuck, are you kidding me? It's like, no, that's Little Caesars pizza that's it. It's a round pizza. Like, I remember when I used to go out to my aunt's house, and she had she lived out towards the airport in Romulus, and they had in a shopping mall. I want to think it was it was on Eureka and something. They had a Hungry Howie's, and they had round pizzas, but they did that thing where they cut it like it's a square pizza. Mm-hmm. So like the pieces in the middle are square, and it's like.
Oh, they cut it crosswise instead of into triangular slices.
Not like it's a pie. So I remember every time we'd get that, I would be like, oh, this is, because you can't fold it. What are you going to do? You get a square like this of pizza. What do you do with that? It's like romper room.
Nowhere to hold it even, yeah. You're going to be a mess.
No, and then the ones on the end, it's just bogus. But I saw somebody saying something about Hungry Howie's on one of the things. I'm like, Hungry Howie's was like ghetto shit pizza. Like, nobody ate that garbage.
Was that a chain?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It was probably 11.
The only chains we have out here are, well, I guess now we have some more. But I go down Florida. There's all this shit I never heard of. Marcos and
Really the only ones,
CCs and all this shit.
but that it's like Papa John, Domino's, Little Caesars. I mean, the ones at Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
I mean, those are the ones that these little. I remember when I got on the east side of Detroit, there was a Dino's Pizza when I was a kid. They were around for probably, I don't know, 8 years. You know, they didn't make it. They couldn't do it. They couldn't move a Little Caesars. So,
Creature Feature John Campbell says, hey, Sean, would it be possible to get that franchise Shane Douglas workout you were talking about on the Kliq This podcast? I greatly appreciate it, as I've always been a fan of Shane's, and as a gym rat, I admired his physique back in ECW. So I found the email from 2013, I think it was.
You big like some kind of a pack rat or what? There,
And
an email rat.
It sits in the file, bruh. It sits in the digital file. You'll get there. You'll learn email eventually. Now this worked, I have to say, for me, and I'm not a personal trainer. I mean, Shane's a professional wrestler, so I went to somebody whose physique I admired and thought it was probably somewhat natural.
How much did you admire it?
Okay, so you tell me what you think of this. This worked for me. This is there's probably new supplements and stuff that you can do, but this worked for me. He wrote me back and said, being a lean guy, should I do it a little, Shane? Like, being a lean guy to start is a huge advantage for you. Most 40-plus guys have to focus on liposeless first or fat burning. That's tougher the older you get, because to do it effectively, you have to get your heart rate up into the burn range, and that's not easy with tight schedules. So thank your stars that you have that to begin. I would suggest you go to a high-rep, lower-weight regimen. This means use a moderately heavy weight, but not killing yourself. We aren't pursuing records anymore, just pursuing good health. So I'd stick with a weight that is 50 to 60% range of your max. Do that for 12 to 15 reps per set with very minimal time between sets. Let's say 90 to 120 seconds. I'd still hit each body part 2 times a week, but do differing exercises for each part at each workout. You can find a ton of different movements in mags like muscle, blah, 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 blah. Vary your workouts to shock the muscle and deny any familiarity to your movements by alternating your movements. Say an A and B regimen each week, your muscles would get used to the movements. This simulates muscle growth. Also, I'd still hit at least 3 days of cardio each week. This will ensure you keep your metabolism up as you begin to gain weight. This should ensure maximum muscle gain and not fat. As for sups, I'm a firm believer in creatine. Do not do the load phase they advise on the bottle. That merely ensures you'll have expensively yellow piss. Do the recommended dose after the load phase, and your serum levels will go to where you need them. Also, as you do the creatine, make sure you drink lots of water to keep your kidneys and liver clear. Creatine is crystalline in structure and as such can make microscopic cuts or tears in your filtering organs like the liver and kidneys. Drinking lots of H2O will safeguard against this. It also helps to take it with a high sugar juice, as the sugar helps shuttle it to your cells for metabolization. The other supplement I like is the NO2 formula. There are a lot of brands on the market. Twin Labs makes a line. So how are we so far? Is he hitting the nail on the head? This worked for me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to me though, like he said, like to get to fat burning, shit, man, that's so low of a cardio. Like to me, like when I want to burn fat, I get on the treadmill and I just walk maybe 4 miles an hour at a 3 or 4 incline.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just I don't want to me, like the one thing you don't want to do is any high intensity cardio. If you want to burn fat, you've got to put time in. I mean, that's, Ronnie Coleman used to do like, hour and a half, twice a day on the treadmill. That's not because the last thing you want to do is you don't want to break down muscle tissue. You don't want to bring up your cortisol levels.
Okay. He goes on to tout the
only other thing is
testosterone.
Also, you were saying about shock the muscles.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was just important as Peter Gabriel once said, it was a shock the monkey.
Right. You could sing Shock the Muscles for us right now for your weekly song, if you want to jump in with that.
Shock the monkey.
How about testosterone? Do you take test?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yes. I take testosterone replacement therapy. I take 220 milligrams. I'm supposed to every 7 days, but man, I got to give myself my own shot. So it's probably close to every 10. It's like drilling a fucking 23.5 gauge needle in your ass is just not a good thing.
Yeah. These are over-the-counter supplements now?
Oh God, no. This is longevity. This is none of that fucking
that over-the-counter testosterone is not legit.
No.
All right.
If you can buy, it's like fucking. It's like going to some Middle Eastern gas station and buying hash. They're not selling you hash, okay? That ain't going down. It's some garbage or kashish. Yeah, whatever.
Kashish. That's the guy's name that runs the joint.
No, it's just fuck. And the thing is, guys always say, I don't want to take roids, One thing, I don't want to get all big. I've been lifting weights for 51 years. I don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I never was gigantic. I didn't get too big. I busted my ass. Don't worry. Your body doesn't want you to get big. Your body will. Most people, if you're 40 years old and you're just now jumping on the gravy train, that means you're a lazy fuck anyway.
That's
okay?
me.
Yeah, you're lazy.
That was me. I think I turned 40 and I sent him that email. Said it's time to work out. Haven't worked out since high school. I can tell you about square pizza though, like a motherfucker. I could.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just how do you treat your body? You got to get. I don't know. I wouldn't want a fucking derby. I mean, if you're gonna manscape to get that extra inch, the last thing you want to do is have some blubber down there covering up your hog.
Says Ron Jeremy. So
yeah, but he was the hedgehog.
He was the fucking hedgehog.
If he would have fucking manscaped, that motherfucker would have had to have an actual landscaping crew come out.
If he shaved, when he got a hard on, he'd look like the letter Q.
I remember one time, man, we were kids and somebody had it was a VHS of him. It was like some guy was with some girl in a warehouse, and Ron Jeremy, they started getting it on, and Ron Jeremy was watching, and he he had blown himself.
Yeah,
in the video.
He did the Lanny Poffo.
Yeah,
right there.
Well, I did witness Mr. Jeremy, and then this is a great story. So Scott and I there's some strip joint that's on south by the airport, and Scott and I have a couple hours before we got to actually be towards the airport. So Scott goes, "Let's go in there and have a beer and see what the town looks like." So we walk in, and on the paid telephone is Ron Jeremy. And Scott, Scott loses it. And
he fanboys?
No, he just loses. Scott busts out laughing. He goes, Kev, let's just go to the airport. It's not going to get any better than this. And we turned and walked. Left. Scott just said, Scott busted out laughing. He goes, it ain't getting any better than this. We just saw the hedgehog on the paid telephone. It's like a little lobby area. You open the glass door. Looked like they took a Denny's and made it into a strip joint. Fucking horrifying.
Where the cigarette machines would be in that little
exactly.
alcove. Yeah,
maybe that where you put the claw and you pick up the stuffed animal.
You pick up a Manscaped brush before you go in.
Pick up pick up a dildo from the Bills game.
Just throw it. Want to know what's funny? I met Ron a couple of times. One of the times I met him was at a strip club in South Jersey called Fantasies, and Ron was there, and he was selling cigars. He had a line of cigars, and he did stand-up comedy that night, and he was not very good. Ron's in a little trouble now, as we all know. He was I had a solo podcast at the time, and he was actually on the week before he went away, and
I'm not familiar. What did he do?
Well, rape.
Oh,
yeah. So he's a few women have come forward and had accused him of forcibly raping, I guess would be the word. No way to make that polite. So
no, that's
I don't know the circumstances of the story, how it happened.
I think somebody that's a rapist is I mean, that's as low as a human can be. If you rape somebody, it's like, if you're a murderer, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do though. I get it, man. If you're murdered, I mean, you could lose your shit and kill.
I was going to
somebody.
say, hasn't every person come to that precipice of wanting to put their hands around someone's throat?
I think that was the fucking whole thing with OJ. Every guy on earth said, "Man, I've ever caught my old lady. If I could do it, I'd cut her head off." Well, OJ said, "Okay, yeah, I pretty much feel the same way."
Hmm.
Hey, Al, you doing anything tonight? Gas up the Bronco, bro.
AC.
Too soon?
No.
Jesus.
The Steve or Dominic, find the charges for Ron Jeremy, so I didn't incorrectly say what he got sent up for there.
Let's just throw human trafficking in there before we hear it. Let's just throw it in. It seems like the newest thing, you know.
It's kind of sexy to say human trafficking.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football returned, and Raw's ratings dipped, and so it was in all the stories, all the websites that carry those ratings.
How much did they dip?
It was down 17%. So the Monday Night Football 2 Raw rating was a 5.49 Monday Night Football, a 0.44 Raw. So I wanted to bring up a table that compared historically Monday Night Football and Raw. So I have this, and there are a few interesting trends. Oh boy,
Can you make that a little bit smaller?
Can we zoom on that at all?
Fuck. That could be in fucking Mandarin, and I could be.
Those of you listening and not watching, we got it looked like Braille from where we were. So 98, 99, these are the years that I correctly predicted would have the smallest spread. Like, let's look at, I jotted a few dates down here. So let's look at October 11th, 99, 10/11/99, a 6.5 to a 10.4. So that's 4 points only. You look at later on.
But God, it's the Jaguars. Whew.
And Jets. 11/29/99. This was Packers and 49ers, although at the time they were in decline.
Raw is love. Any correlation with the Packers?
Doubtful. Dude love, I'm guessing. 6.5 to a 13. So that's
6.5. Is that measured from the crack of your ass?
That's from the crack.
Okay.
Look at the fucking numbers you guys are doing. It's just amazing. So what starts to happen then?
Look at the last one. Look at the 49ers. Yeah, look at that. 6.5
5 to 10. A 3.5 spread. Now also, bear in mind, this is when Monday Night Football is on network. They didn't even move to cable yet. This is Channel 7.
There's no Thursday night game either.
No. Not in these years.
No, this is when they started. They started to think like, we may have to, this wrestling continues to.
Now this starts to slip a little. Go down to like I don't know. I guess 2001. Now
That's
right in
yeah,
here. See,
yeah. That's
02.
That's when I started making movies. So that, of course, it's nobody's gonna
Exactly. No Nash. so,
I was tired. Tired.
So the spreads start to become like 8 and 9 points now.
I was 44. I was tired.
But that was the
Coming
golden
off my
age,
quad.
man. That was the golden age for 89, 90, 2000. That was you were talking 3-4 point spreads. Some weeks there's some that are a little bigger, obviously, but the numbers were remarkable. For all you old school guys out there, you remember it well. All right, it is time for the stiff one of the week. Okay, so stiff one of the week brings us to your friend Scott Hall, and this was on one of our shows. It was on a U shoot, and about Vince McMahon in a meeting talking about his first homosexual experience. You were there too, Kev. Let's see.
I remember when Vince called me in. You got to remember, this is a whole different era. That we're not allowed to fight on the floor. You don't hit guys with chairs, nothing. It's all, and they're real big on family entertainment. And so Vince calls me in, and they're doing the Goldust angle, and he goes, "We're gonna do this Goldust thing. We're gonna do this thing with you." And he goes, he's gonna be in love with you. And I remember thinking like, what? Like, I just went through a long angle with Sean, and I worked with Kev, who's like a big killer, and then I'm thinking. And he goes, "Let me tell you about my first homosexual experience." And I remember me and Kev are both sitting in Vince's office at TV. And I looked at Kev, my first thought was, as opposed to your most recent, like you and Warrior on the bearskin rug. But, sorry, Vince. But I remember, he was telling me about,
and what the hell did he tell you about?
No, he was telling me about when he was living in North Carolina. He said, I was hitchhiking one time. But see, and I don't know anything about Vince's past, but I'm thinking, hitchhiking from where? The pool to the country club? Like, what? And he said some guy picked him up and was like rubbing his hand on his leg. And I'm thinking, okay, now you're telling me, what does this have to do with wrestling? But I remember being a little resistant to it because I remember being really resistant to it because that wasn't the way we were doing business then. Now, it was great, and it did a lot, they put a lot of time in it, and everything, and I don't know. It was, if you look at the early Goldust stuff.
Do you remember it,
really
Kev? Do you remember the meeting?
Across homosexual vibes.
Oh, yes. Yes. Scott and I have rehashed that conversation numerous times. Yeah.
Got a props for the bearskin rug reference.
It's just, I swear, it's, I was so blessed to spend like 33 years of my life with that human being. I mean, it's just like, oh, I didn't know because I don't know what you're going to pull up. So, I mean, to me, that's, and then it was like later on, like, so like the angle goes a little bit forward, and Scott's sitting there with his son, Code, and him and Cody are watching it, and like Goldust unzips his outfit, pulls it over, and there's a heart, and across it says Razor. And Scott's got to explain to his son why this freak's got a heart.
How old's Cody at the time?
God, maybe 10, 11.
That's great.
Enough to scar you.
Yeah. Scott on this at this shoot was typical Scott. The interview was great, and that's all I care about. You could be difficult to me as long as what goes out to the audience is
this
fine.
The one when he told you that the envelope was a little light?
A little light. Wasn't even my deal. I didn't know what he was talking about. And then he wanted to go have sushi. The slate comes in. I'm like this, right? We're ready to go. It's like, okay, Mark, can we speed this up? There's some people waiting for me with sushi downstairs. What the fuck? Whatever. So, but there was another time when you were being Kevin's a notorious prima donna. So he was in his Patti LaBelle phase, and he calls me complaining that too many people are driving him. It wasn't even my deal. I didn't bring him in. I was going to work with him one of the nights. We were going to shoot a show, and he called me. You're like, got one guy picked me up at the airport. I got another guy drives me to this signing, and another guy's going to drive me to you. I need some consistency. So I said, okay, I got it. Okay,
That's
okay,
a prima
Patty.
donna.
Okay,
that's a
Patty.
Prima donna. That's a prima donna because I drive every fucking mile of my life, and I've got people that shouldn't even have a license driving my rich fucking ass around. Fuck you. Fuck them. Fuck that.
Right, rich ass doesn't make you look like a prima donna. I use that phrase. But anyway, listen. Hold on. It's not the point of the story.
It is the point of the story. You're calling me fucking Patty LaBelle. I don't even know. Is Patty LaBelle? I don't know. Have you ever met Patty LaBelle? Is she
She's
really
a diva. She's a diva. She's a diva.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. So I said, Kevin.
And you're a Jersey guy. Okay, let's go.
I'm going to come get you. I'm going to drive. You were an hour and a half away. I said, I'm going to come get you. Don't worry about it.
And what'd you come pick me up in?
A car.
A BMW.
No.
Yes.
It was a Benz.
Or a Benz. As I said, you picked me up in a fucking a proper gentleman's car.
Yeah, of course.
It was the first car that weekend that actually was built in this country, you know?
And what I send you back to the airport in? I got your town car.
Yeah.
Because I treat you right. So
I don't see what the argument is. The argument should be the jack-offs that treated me like that's why people all the times they say, you'll come in and I'll be like, no, you'll get me car service. Because I don't want to drive in your wife's Hyundai. That she hasn't cleaned in 6 years. Like, that's not being a diva. That's being fucking OCD.
But can the D stand for diva in that?
No.
Okay.
You can stand for, I'm not going to, I can't stand, I can't touch change. If I get in your car and there's change all over, you might as well fucking hit me with a taser, tape me up, and sodomize me the entire fucking trip. Like, it's brutal.
Well, listen. Sometimes you're brought in by, not the most professional outfits in the world.
Well, that's why not anymore.
Right. Well, this was some time ago. Anyway, I got to get to the point of the story. So I say, Kevin, don't worry about it. I'll handle your trans for the rest of the weekend. I'm going to come get you, and I'm going to get you back to LaGuardia the right way. So I come down. You're doing some signing, which is going too long, and Scott's there. The whole point was Scott. So Scott's there. He's signing with you. You're sitting next to each other. So you were upset. So I came in. I went right to you, and I guess I walked by Scott naturally. I went to you to say, "Are you all right? We're gonna hit the road." Scott goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" He's like, "Nothing? No hello? Nothing?" So I just thought that was classic, Scott. I'm coming here to handle a crisis with Kevin, and he's going to take issue that you were spoken to before him. It was great.
But it wasn't that the same deal that some guy tried to do some shit back ass to you and we had to put him in place? Or was that a different one?
Well, all right. So maybe I had some ulterior motives for coming down and picking you up.
Yeah. So he's gonna call me a fucking diva when he basically wants to use me for muscle. What a fuck! This is this guy's shit.
No,
right?
no, you don't remember what I did? No, listen. You and Scott were going to open the show with an NWO promo, and I took you and drove you back before the show started, so the guy wouldn't have you.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
in other words, we're the divas, but Sean Oliver can't wait till this guy gets what he wants out of us.
No, he tried to fuck me on a deal. That's it.
He did.
You go down. You go down when that happens.
He did try to fuck you.
All I had to say to you was, I said, Kev, you've been signing a long time, huh? And you're like, told me I was done at 8. It's 8:20. I was like, I think you gave him the 20-minute promo right here in the form of autographs. Are you ready? Yeah. Boom. We were gone. I never found out what happened. Scott walked to the ring and you weren't there. Did he even know we left?
That was such a diva. See, that's what a diva move of me. As I'm coerced by you to do it. The other guy's not going. Oh, he is a diva. He no showed his promo.
Florida man or Jersey guy brings us to Florida man or Jersey guy. Two headlines.
If the Jersey guy's a lying motherfucker like you, I'll just say yeah, Jersey guy.
I never lie. I'm honest to a fault.
All right.
When someone's a diva, I call him a diva. I'm honest to a fault. Of course, I have the safety of doing this over the computer. You're not next to me. All right. One headline from someone in Jersey, one from someone in Florida, and you're going to tell me who the Florida man and Jersey guy is. You have a very good record in this, I must say. All right. First headline. Well, this is a female, so it would be a Florida chick or a Jersey chick. Barefoot drunk woman karate kicks the cops again. And the other headline. Man gets tired of waiting at hospital, steals ambulance, drives home. One is Jersey, one is Florida.
Both pretty generic moves. I see the roundhouse kick coming off of a porch of a mobile home somewhere in Kissimmee. So I'm gonna go karate chick. Dude steals the ambulance, Jersey guy.
Okay. Good guess, but it is opposite. We have the
my streak has been broken.
We have a young woman getting arrested for the third time. Her name was, let's see her here, Franklin, New Jersey. Gets a call about a 44-year-old woman named Sheila Salatano. She was driving drunk and barefoot when the cops tried to arrest her. She ran away, then, quote, karate kicked both of them in the chest. She was so drunk they called an ambulance. Sheila kicked the EMT in the stomach as well. Very good. And then, let's see, the ambulance was
She's a badass.
What part? Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
we've all dated ones like that. There he is. Look at him.
Senator Cruz.
There, a little bit, right? He does have a little of the Cruz. If you cleaned him up.
That's how he looked when he was down in Cancun after a couple of drinks.
He, let's see, who is this? This is a patient lost his patience and stole an ambulance. According to the Lake County Sheriff's Office, investigators said this all went down Tuesday night at the Villages Hospital in the Villages. The Villages, for anyone that doesn't know.
Highest per capita of sexually transmitted disease in the world.
So this is like a retirement community, right? That everyone went down. And they have, it's like they have like these 80-year-old swingers and shit, right?
We were going to do a show called The Villages, and Reed Carroll was who wrote the Magic Mics, all of them.
Yeah,
and Dog, and I was going to be like the guy that was just in. You know, like the 55 and over, and I was the 57-year-old. Like I was like the American gigolo of the place, you know.
That would have been
with my pocket full of blue chews.
That would have been great.
Manscaped up.
It never shot, or you just weren't in it.
No, we didn't. It never came to fruition.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, because Chan went through some things in his personal life, and it, you know. Everything was kind of put on
Tatum
hold.
was going to be in it too?
No.
Oh, I thought you said Channing went through.
Yeah. No, I mean, they were going to executive produce it together.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, there is a documentary, though, about the Villages. I forget what it's called, but if you search it out, you'll find it, about what an odd insular world it is down there. Only in Florida could you do some shit like that. You know,
and guess how they vote down in the Villages?
I'm going to say overwhelmingly red would be my guess.
Because you know why? You know why they vote red? Okay, when you have a Republican who's a billionaire. Okay? He's a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's the ex-president.
Mm-hmm.
But you got a guy that did, a knockout job. Nobody can say he did anything wrong while he was in office. I mean, guy was pretty much spot on everything he did. Came a little bit short on the wall, but besides that, guy's spot on. But I've always was curious. People always, this is one thing that, and this is this isn't satire, or sarcasm, or anything else. People will tell me, Nash, why do you hate Donald Trump so much? I'm like, I don't hate Donald Trump. I don't know the man. I've never met the man. I don't have the ability to give him that much real estate in my brain. I just don't think that he was that great for our country. But then I think about it, and I'm thinking like, no, wait, because when there was the vote count, he got Portman and Wright out of Columbus, Ohio, which you would think that, like, who wouldn't want to make a name for themselves with the president being screwed out of an election, right? Think about it. Like, this is it. Like, this is my F. Lee Bailey moment with this law firm. Is I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna go from state to state. We're gonna get this thing turned around. There's not going to be an insurrection. We don't need an insurrection because we're going to take care of this the proper way. But for some reason, everybody that got involved early in the vote count, all the firms that with any credibility bailed, and he ended up with Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani as his legal team, which seems strange when, if it's a no-brainer, 40% of our country believes that that this Biden character, who all he does is cause inflation. The numbers just came out there, 8.3. It's got to be this guy because, granted, Great Britain's were 9.9, but this guy seems to have control of this whole inflation thing where he's doing some kind of thing there. And I can't figure out quite what it is, but he's no Donald Trump. So then we go, okay? Then we go to Morgan and Lewis, and they decide that they're going to take on the Southern District in the fraudulent
Manhattan
tax. The whole, they bail. What? They bail? And then, of course, they cut the sweet deal for the CEO or CFO or whatever the fuck he was. Odd job. Then we go to, hey, ex-President Donald Trump, billionaire Republican, super sweet ex-president, man. You think maybe we could have those classified documents you got in the back of your house, please?
Well, what's her name said under oath that they were all.
Oh, Christina Bob.
Bob, right?
Because and everybody knows. Christina Bob. It's just like she's with the law firm Neal and Bob, and if you've ever seen her, she's there for one reason only. She's got. When I did find out that she got a law degree at Trump University, I was a little suspect. But so she says that she actually writes to the DOJ stating that there are no more top secret anything of clearance. They come and you're not going to believe this. 2 months later, they do a search of the house, find 20 boxes, 11 of them have top secret and classified documentation.
Wouldn't you know it?
So this is my real problem in this whole thing. Everybody's saying, if that were you and I,
We'd be under the jail right now. Why haven't they put Trump in jail yet?
I'm at the point in my life with this whole fucking deal. I'm so tired of seeing the DOJ in fucking half guard with Trump that I'm about to stand both of them up and start this fucking thing over. Like, come on. Shit or get off the pot. Because if you can take somebody like me and I just go, okay, so where does this go? They bring in the masturbator to fucking decide whether or not the, you know,
the special masturbator.
Yeah, the special masturbator to decide whether or not the shit's going to go further. And when push come to shove, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. Push come to shove, he'll take this shit to the Supreme Court where he's already stacked the fucking deck there. So you're going to tell me that Trump is going to go to fucking jail and bring along with him, because this is part of his fucking deal, his Secret Service fucking crew?
Can't.
He has to. He's got to be protected.
Well, if ever
there's no precedent for it.
No, there isn't. So that's an interesting point. So what would they do? So they could they put him in a federal facility with?
No, they put him in Mar-a-Lago and put him under house arrest.
So house arrest, maybe.
Yeah. So is that bad? You're much closer. You don't have to keep making fucking excuses for diaper changes. You're right there in your crib.
Well, can they say what? Can they make his house arrest in Newark in an apartment 4C in the ironbound section of Newark instead of Mar-a-Lago?
You're putting the secrets. You're putting them in a secure security situation that it's not advantageous to protect the. See, I tell you right now, man, this is like that NFL pension when they got OJ. You ain't gonna fuck around with this. The Secret Service is gonna watch Donald Trump's ass until the day he passes.
Well, that's the deal. But I wonder, in a case where someone's convicted, this just has never happened. They'd have to figure it out. How many years would that take? There'd probably be a special master to decide how the Secret Service is handled too.
Yeah, I just look at the whole thing and I'm just like, you're gonna tell me at some point, like, they're just not gonna say, listen, we're gonna do a 1-page deal memo. You say that you won't ever run for office again, and you sign this paperwork,
and that'll be enough.
You can't hold office. Yeah. So that's all the world wants, is him not to be able to be in any kind of position. I think Rotary Club, something like that, would be fine.
Our head Rotarian, Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, and former president.
So, no, but I don't understand how people, like, why can't, and everybody that lawyers for him has to get a lawyer.
That's the problem now, is that the legal team needs a legal team.
I mean, what does that tell you?
I mean, who's signing up for this?
I think Lindsey Graham. He's doing the fucking Potomac Shuffle, fucking 15. He just went 15 weeks to the.
Well, he's busy because there's apparently a new bill he's had in his back pocket about the 15-week abortion that just got whipped out.
He took 15 steps to the left yesterday. on top of a across the board, like 4.5 drop in the markets.
Yeah, markets got pounded.
I don't know.
What did they do? I didn't even look today. After I threw up last night, I said,
one was 900 points. Was that today? I think.
Did the Dow go up 900?
No, down.
It went down another 900?
Or was that yesterday? I don't know what the hell.
No, it was 13.
Yeah.
It's now 4.6%.
Yeah. I don't know. How does one sleep at night?
Give us the fucking the market closes today.
Yeah, they're looking it up right now.
Dow, NASDAQ, and
but seriously, what do you do if you're a firm? It'd be a prestigious thing to represent a former president, but you'd be in the line of fire for what you'd be asked to do. that I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to sleep at night. Here's the market. What are we today? We're back up
Again,
31 points. Oh no, 31. Up
Whoa.
up 30.
Up 0.097.
0.97%.
What was that? I can't even see.
And this is what? This is since well, this is
for the
Monday. This is the week. So Monday.
Okay, so go to year to date. I think the Dow's down like 14%. What is it down?
What does it say up top there under the 31?
Make it bigger.
What's that number? Yeah, 14.9.
14.9. Now look at the Nasdaq's like 24%. Look year to date Nasdaq. Not that I fucking look at this shit.
Yeah, don't park it there, big guy.
25.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Don't park it there.
I can't. I can't add 6 and 6, but I can tell you what the fucking market's doing.
Yeah. All right, Bunkhouse Stampede time. We're back. Kliq This, the Kevin Nash podcast.
I gotta say something about this whole podcast gig, right?
Yeah.
It's like, we get all these products sent to us.
Yeah, we try them. So we are telling you the truth.
So I'm sitting there, laying on this 60-degree comfort setting with a Blue Chew in my gut, just ripping a fucking boned out like nobody's business. And I can see every inch of this son of a bitch because I'm Manscaped.
Put it all together.
It's like, why? And you wonder why I'm a diva? I got it better than Elvis at the fucking Hilton.
You got the life. You got the life.
You. Telling you, man.
You know who doesn't have the life? I would hate to be Abdullah the Butcher's Tailor. Imagine you're running a shop in Atlanta. Abby fucking walks in, whips those tits out, and asks you to make him something that makes him look good. Talk about a pressure situation. That is like a fireman being called to like the towering inferno, the shark hunter being sent out to snag that great white in Amity with Robert Shaw. It is the challenge of all challenges. What do? You got to do your job. You got to be professional. You can't say like, "Whoa, I hope I have enough fabric." You can't do that. You got to be professional. You might get forked in the head too. You can't say, "Listen, sir, it's summer. Would you be interested in a lightweight boat cover?" Can't do that.
I'd go Nehru.
Can't say, "Sir, were you born with 3 pussies on your head?" You can't say those things. So you're going to have to just do your best to put it together. For big guys, you're tall, but you're also you're muscular, right? So you just can't walk into a store and buy off the rack, right? No. So if you're getting a suit, let's say you got to go to an affair, you got to get a suit. You have to have this thing made.
All my clothes are. There's a American Tall is a company that has actually came around that has some good, not great quality, but good quality clothing. And they go like my biggest problem is my inseam. It's 38, and then my chest
soft.
My chest is 56, but my waist is 40. So, an athletic cut, I think, is 8 inches, and mine's like 16-inch drop. And then I got on top of that, I got big-ass fucking delts. And my arms are over 20 inches around. My neck's over 20 inches around,
So when they tend to make those larger sizes, they're not necessarily for athletic trim guys. They're like a tent, right? They're just...
And then unless they have... Usually you can't even like the shirts, like they can't dart them right. They don't. If you take your jacket off, they don't sit right. you just got to get shit made. You know, just got to get it made.
But if you're not tall, right? If you're like, I don't know, is Abby tall? Did you ever work with Abdullah?
Yeah, not. But I mean, I've worked.
You've been around him.
Yeah, I've been in territories with him.
So he's not tall. He's just, it's the girth, and the breasts are unbelievable. So his shit has to be made for him. There's no way that American tall or American wide as a fucking Mack truck is going to fit on him. He needs those made.
But I think that he always tried to do that like Sultan look, you know, where he had like some kind of, you know, like almost like a Middle Eastern, and I don't know.
Well, he was billed from the Sudan, but of course he was just a black dude, Larry Shreve. But he, a funny story about him in Todd Gordon's book that I co-authored, coming soon. He was working ECW and he was in the locker room, and it was a TV taping, and one of the headhunters, you know, one of those massive 400-pounders, gets thrown through the wall in the ECW arena and goes through the drywall, knocks a hole, and the camera's shooting into what is now a hole in the wall. After all the dust settles, literally, Abby is sitting in the locker room trying to put a sock on, trying to fling a sock around his big toe, and he turns and looks, sees the hole, gets up and just walks off camera. Classic moment.
Yeah, it had to be. No, it had to be so miserable.
Just getting around. You have a hard time flying, right? Because you're very tall, so you need your legs. You need those. Either you're in first class, or you have to be in one of those like extra legroom type deals, right?
Am I in first class? I'm not on the plane.
Okay, so I should have known. Of course, but you're the size. You're 6'10", so.
But I'm also wider than a first class seat, let alone a coach seat.
The shoulders too. Yeah. Right.
So I'm fucking. If I'm sitting in coach, then I got this much of my fucking bodies on that next, and then you go out this way, and they fucking ram you with the cart.
Yeah. Oh God, the fucking carts. Yeah. Whenever I'm on the aisle, like I'm small and I get it with the cart. How the fuck would Abby sit? He has to buy two, right? You can't do one seat.
No, Yoko. They used to. Because Rodney, when he had so much ass that when Yoko would sit in a town car and I'd be driving and Yoko would be in the passenger side, like he would literally be like this much taller than me because he was sitting on his ass.
Right.
And my ass is just
right.
I mean, it's fucking succulent, but I mean, it's not going to give me any fucking height.
I had Hornswoggle in my passenger seat one time, and he has one of those big fat midget asses. And
can you say that? I think you have to say little person.
A fat little person ass. Well, he's the one on air who said that I should call him midget. I asked him in the opening of the show. I said, "Now, what am I calling you today?" He said, "Midget. I'm a midget." So I have permission from him. Anybody who's looking to write a letter to somebody,
it'll be on the fucking comments.
A very strange thing. He was.
Do midgets eat Detroit pizza?
Only the small animals. He was like my height. He was eye level with me when I turned to him because of the big fat assness. The Kim Kardashian ass that he's got going. So Abby could not fly. Yoko, what 2 seats, an entire row? How'd they fly him?
They used to sit him coach because it was better for him to have 2 coach seats,
right,
than it was for him because first he couldn't get his ass in the seat because that thing in the middle of 2 first class seats doesn't pick up.
The divider, the armrest,
the plastic divider, cup holder, whatever the fuck. Yeah, that thing that doesn't pick up.
Good point. Right.
So he was always better off in having 2, the aisle and the next seat. Because it wasn't like he was, long limbed. He just had that, he had a big Big Keista on the
Yeah.
Rod. Rod was.
It's tough being.
And then on
next to
top of
someone
that,
like
man, like,
too.
you know, I remember one time we were going overseas and Rod had to take a dump. And it ain't like Rod's getting in a bathroom. So we had to just get up and put like whole trash bags because he couldn't shut the door and shit.
Right, you can't fit in
So
there.
the boys had to fucking do the buddy system.
Oh, take me there. I never heard this before. So
Yeah, I'm sure Andre was the same way. There's just no fucking way that
I think he just let it go in his pants. But so
yeah,
where does Rodney go? To the back?
that back in the day, there was always that second and first, like there's the divider, and then there's that really that's the bathroom that if you travel is that square one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not that one that's up at the front that's got the pitch of the plane. You go in the middle where it's a square bathroom where you can, you know, that's your best bet. But this was, you know, we were on some shit plane that didn't have that, so Rod had to you know. I remember one time we were on some like Piedmont or some fucking thing back in the day, and I got up and we were drinking. I was sitting by across from Taker in the aisle, and I fucking wedged my way in there, and Taker says, "Fuck, man," he said, "How did you fucking like? How did you not piss all over yourself?" I said, "I used the urinal." He goes, "What?" I said, "Well, you probably call it a sink." He's like, "You motherfucker." I said, "I can't get in. I can only get in so fucking far. So before you ever piss in a sink, for you rookies out there, you got to run the water to make sure the drain doesn't, you know, it works."
Right.
Because one time I go in there, man, I've been pounding beers on the whole flight. I go in there and fill this fucking basin full of piss, and it ain't draining. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. Now what? So I'm like, do I ask for a coffee cup and fucking
Siphon it out into the toilet?
Yeah, like
Oh.
you fucking like bailing a ship. And then fucking, so then I just like, so I kept fucking with it. Finally, I got it to start to drain, but there was probably still 1.5 inches of piss. And I just started taking those fucking white paper towels and just fucking saturating the piss. And then now, on top of all this, now you've got me. I'm OCD. So this motherfucking bathroom, when I leave, is cleaner than it was when the fucking cleaning crew got in there. I mean, I put fucking soap, everything. I mean, I clean this whole fucking thing, because I'll be damned if fucking somebody's gonna follow me and go, "Oh, that fucking pig." So, but that was yeah, because I can't get in, and I'm not gonna if I was to piss. Now you got like you've always got the chance of fucking getting the piss boner on the plane, and you know if you piss with that son of a bitch, just gets going 11 directions.
Right.
You know, you can't turn around and sit and piss because you can't bend it down to get your cock in the fucking, you know, in the toilet. So you're better off just fucking pulling it out, putting it in the fucking, laying that bitch in the fucking sink, and then fucking pissing.
Right. Are there
You
certain
know,
airlines?
I'm 63 years old. I got fucking probably about 5.5 million miles in the air. Like, I have found this to be effective, ladies and gentlemen. So do not ask me.
You're not supposed to do that. I'm from Detroit. We had square pizza.
Square pizza in the bathroom,
Fuck
yeah.
yourself.
No, this,
I'm not
this is
pissing all over, but it's like when you walk in. This is another one of my favorites. When did we become such a bunch of fucking just pussies that we can't fucking piss next to another dude if there's not a fucking stall, like a wall?
a partition.
Yeah, because everybody knows when I get off a plane, the first thing I want to do, man, is I want to do some fucking meat gazing.
Meat gazing.
I
yeah.
want to fucking see some hog. What the fuck? I know this guy. I've been over his shoulder getting his company's secrets while he worked on his fucking computer. But what I really want to know is, what's he fucking packing? So you go into fucking the Delta Sky Lounge, and these motherfuckers go in, and that's like, that's the Taj Mahal. They actually have the wood goes all the way to the tile. There's no looking underneath. I mean, if you got, you can rub one out, and that son of a bitch, no fucking problem. You always, it's like fucking right now, the Delta code's cheers. Punch that in, go to Pornhub, wham, dunk one down the fucking drain. Check your emails. Fucking, I don't get what, nobody's gonna knock on that. There's like 9 of them. But there's always a guy that fucking, every time I'm in line waiting, the door opens up and there's a puddle of piss. And
on the floor.
Yeah, and the guy has pissed all over the seat because this small cock motherfucker won't go piss in the stall that's got a wall next to it. He's got to go inside and fucking spray down the whole fucking shitter.
There are those guys that will always use the commode as opposed to going to the urinal.
But see, this is the difference. It's really just common fucking. It's common courtesy. If all the fucking urinals are taken, and the handicap bathroom usually doesn't. Usually people will the handicap will be the last stall to be taken. But so you put your briefcase on the hook and you leave the door of that handicap open. You take your foot, you pick up the lid, you piss, you flush it, and you fucking walk out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't shut the door because you want somebody to know, hey, I'm pissing because there was I mean, I'm not going to sit here and get a bladder infection while you fucks that all got prostate problems trying to squeeze a fucking other drop out of your dick.
This again, folks, this is millions of miles tested. This is advice. This was the Delta Sky Lounge, where you can rub one out to Pornhub or your favorite website in the privacy of a stall that goes to the floor. And that's the key. These are key takeaways here. I got to get back to fucking Yoko taking a shit in a garbage bag. Now, do the jobbers have to hold?
No, we use the garbage bag. We tear it and cut, like, so it's partitioned for privacy.
Oh, you made a part. I'm thinking he's
Oh.
shitting in a bag because he can't fit in the bathroom. You talk about the plane ride from hell.
I'll tell you one thing.
Makes Waltman's eyebrows look like a party.
I'll have to fucking get verification on this. I want to think it was the old Capitol Center,
Landover, Maryland,
and they had the shitters were and somebody always says this. It seems like Nash always has indigestion on the show. Yeah, because I
someone say that?
Yeah, it's like I come down here at 6 o'clock. Like I've been drinking protein drinks. I've rushed from the gym to come here because it fucks my whole day up, and I haven't had solid food besides my oatmeal and bananas at fucking 11 o'clock. So it's like I've had liquid food all day. It's like, so go fuck yourself. I don't have some. It's another guy says to me, goes, I was reading. The guy says, your face looks a little bloated. Have you been checked for congestive heart failure lately? I'm like, no, I think I did 2 shows in back to back, and I had diarrhea in the first one, and we just didn't bring it up in the second one. But guess what? I was sick for both of them. And when you're dehydrated, guess usually what your body does? Wow, maybe it holds fucking water.
Retains
because
water.
You're fucking pissing out your ass.
Kevin, don't feel you've got to justify your bloatedness to any listener. You do not. Go back to
I'm just saying, like, well, who would fucking spend the time to type that?
So you'd build a partition so that Yoko.
So we build a partition so Yoko. So we're at the Capitol Center, and the toilets aren't mounted to the floor; they come straight out from the wall.
The wall. Oh boy.
Yoko sits on one, and the fucking thing explodes.
It's the end of that.
It cuts his fucking ass. That was fucking, man. That was brutal. I felt so bad for him, man. It was just like, he's such a sweet, loving, great guy. And just like, man, it was like nobody said anything because I mean he was everybody's boy, but it was just like fuck, man. Like God, life's got to be so fucking hard. When I first met him, he was Coquina Maxima, and he was working for New Japan, and his finish was fucking super kick. He was like 450, could fucking. I mean, Roddy could super kick like it was nobody's business. No motherfucker, man. He was God. He was so talented.
Abby worked Japan all the time too. Why they like those big monsters like that? Is it?
I think
such an attraction.
Abby was so fucking violent. You know,
right?
Abby was just. I mean, and they those organizations, especially those like War and some of those other ones that used to be prominent. But you know, they like the fucking the blood.
Yeah, they'd be. Totally extreme with
plus,
the exploding death.
When I went over there,
matches.
when I went over there for the first time,
Onita's
it was just like
crazy shit.
Yeah, the gaijings would fucking go in the crowd. Like Stan Hansen would fucking hit the marks with the fucking bell, and he didn't. I mean, they bust fuckers open. They didn't give a fuck.
You could get away with anything over there. Almost.
Yeah, it was fucking. It was like live, man.
What did you think of work in Japan?
I loved it.
Yeah, I think you told me that once before.
Yeah, I think everybody. I think it's kind of chill because you're out. Except I mean, nowadays it's probably really cool because they'd have the buses would be much more advanced, and you'd have more than one fucking one movie on the fucking on the bus that was in English.
You did bus tours over there, right? So you'd have to, Would they load baby faces and heels on the same buses?
Mostly it was like the New Japan crew, and then like the gaijin crew.
Gaijin, you guys, yeah.
And they had one seat in the back was like this big giant seat that kind of was like the throne for like the top gaijin. Like my first trip, Vader was sitting in that seat.
Yeah, he was another one made a fortune over there too.
Yeah.
Is the pay good for everybody that goes over there? All the gaijin, all the Americans. Do you do well?
Usually it's better than, I think one of the things was too, though, that was guaranteed. That was like one of the few places that, if you're getting 20 grand a week, which was good money over there, if you're getting 20 grand a week, it was like, at least you knew you were getting 20. You were going to come home with $60,000.
Right, they would make the deal in advance. It wasn't based on the gate. You were given a guarantee, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
And every time I went over there, WCW would still send you your check. New Japan always took care of me. They always gave me extra cash.
Did you get per diems too, like to eat and shit?
No, I don't think so.
Did you have to work a different style when you went over there? Did you change up what
only
you did?
Only because the Steiners fucking wound me up so fucking, man, it's like going into prison, you let these fucking guys punk you, guy fucking half-ass stiff shit on mistake, and you fucking light the guy up with off. Fucking four forearms in a row. Like, what the fuck's with this guy, Jing? What the fuck, dude?
But was that common where they would test you, where they would take advantage of you? Or this was just the myth of Japan?
I always found that working in Japan, like working in Japan was like being in the military. It was so fucking simple. Just be polite, be respectful, and respect that you're in somebody else's country.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the Army. Just make sure your boots are fucking highly shined, your shit's squared away, and it's so simple. Life's so simple. Everybody makes it so hard. It's just like, like doing a podcast and then doing a podcast really fucking stoned.
Well, don't do that. We won't have to-
Tonight's like last week. I thought like, wow, like I'll go ahead and fire one up, but way too close to showtime.
This is like night and day. I have a dance partner tonight. We're talking about Abby and the Tailor, but the outfits that some of these big guys had to wear in the ring.
Oh, you and I have always been a huge fan of Mabel's outfit.
I knew it was
the purple and gold. Then he came back, his viscera, and he was like in almost like a fucking black like latex body. Like that was crazy with different color eyes and.
Yeah, but that big purple fucking like the Queen Mum.
Nelson was kind of Abby-ish. With those kind of lat breasts.
The lat breast, yeah.
The lat breasts. Yeah.
Where do you stand on fake tits, by the way? Are they as acceptable as natural or
Well, I definitely think I don't like.
I don't mean on a man either, by the way.
No, I didn't think you did.
Okay.
Even though you're from New Jersey.
Exactly.
I don't want to
I have receipts coming for the Diva thing. I know I have receipts coming. Go ahead.
But I mean, I don't have. I don't want to take a woman's blouse off or, take her dress down and she's got a fucking bar of soap and a tube sock for a breast. I don't think that's kind of a look I'm going for. I just think that a natural like a natural breast, anything that's like if it's bigger than a champagne cup, it's probably going to be like she's going to lay on her back and they're probably going to go in her armpits.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of a, I'm absolutely for breast augmentation, especially to balance somebody.
If it's needed.
And I don't think and like when women have usually when they have carry a child, their breasts get all fucked up from the glands and getting sucked on and everything else, and having some creepy husband trying to get fucking some colostrum, but
it's a fetish for everything, man.
Yeah, but I always like this one, like when a guy says, "Oh, geez, man, do you think she could have went any bigger?" I'm thinking, yeah, because if we could get our cocks fucking enlarged, I'm sure we'd all go in and go, just give me like a 1/16 of an inch, doc. Every guy fucking walking around fucking town to be tying their shit in a knot. Hey, watch this. Just got my new dick. Let me tie it in a knot. Look, huh?
Do the Robert Fuller, put a wrist lock on the motherfucker.
Right.
Were you what kind of wheelman were you? Did you ever drive? Or
I drove every mile.
You did.
That was if you would have been listening earlier when you were too busy calling me a diva.
Right.
I tried to explain to you that one of the reasons that I didn't particularly like the round robin being passed around from car to car, I should say from shit box to shit box, was the fact that the people that were behind the wheel should not have had their license.
Oh no, I heard that, but I meant when you were on the road.
Yeah, well, that's on the road, and that's like my entire career. I drove. My first road trip, I drove. I always drove.
I thought but wasn't Triple H doing the rides?
Yeah, it was 4 years into the.
Oh, all right, okay.
He came in January. I mean, at that point, once I realized after like 2 weeks, I realized when he said I don't do anything, and I realized he was being serious. I was just like, wow, like this would be nice to take, not be behind the wheel. You've got to realize back then 90% of our road trips were northeast, so that's that bumper to bumper.
Yeah,
that being that wheel guy every day, day in day out, snow, rain.
Why did you want that? Oh,
Because that's what you did. Because we didn't get tired back then.
Well, you were 42. You weren't 42
yeah.
yet.
I was 36. Jesus. I swear to God, man.
Were you ever, did you get, when you worked Japan, you know, you hear about the young boys, right? And did you ever have any of the young workers over there carrying your bags or looking after you or anything like that?
I would never do anything. I would never. Dallas Page would. Dallas is always great. You'd be because you got to go for Dallas would have like 73 bags for a 2-day trip. And some Mark would come up in the parking lot and say, "Hey man, can I get your autographs?" Dallas would be like, "Yeah, you can have mine if you carry my bags in the hotel." And he wouldn't shit, man. I mean, he'd give you every bag he had. Wouldn't like he'd help out and drag one. Fuck that. You were taking Billy Zane's Titanic bag collection up to the fucking hotel. Because that was the one thing was, when you come in late, you've got to, it's important that you got to get your car in a parking spot. Because if you park it someplace, there's a chance it'll get fucking towed. If it's in front of, a dumpster or some shit like that. So before you, it's better to drag you. If you see a spot, take it. Because if not, you could end up missing that spot. The next car, boys, gets it. And you're, parked around the corner up, in the hood or some shit, Because it wasn't like we were staying in the world's finest hotels.
So, yeah.
But
so
I think that's why I was so tired all the time.
Did guys like Abby and Viscera, did they get rats? What does an Abby rat look like? I need to see an Abby rat.
Really? Do you really?
I see, and I'd want to see the action just to know how this is even possible.
I think, you know what? When I think of rats, and I mean, they were, when I broke in, you can always tell how the business is doing by the rats.
Right.
Man, when that NWO shit was hot, it looked like you go in there, it looked like a fucking Ford modeling convention at the fucking bar.
Right.
It was, ugh. Yeah, there was always some attractive, and there was like you go to shows and there'd be A-list celebrities like Dennis Miller would be back, and when we went to the Forum, Dennis Miller would be back there, and different people.
Right.
John Candy would always be. Remember one time
another one with nice tits.
Yeah, Candy has some nice tits. I think that's a go-to go-home shot. Uncle Buck with that.
So go ahead.
But I think his were implants, though.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He would have had the 2 socks with golf balls in them if he didn't pump those bad boys up. But I just always wonder, of course, I know fucking Shawn Michaels and all these guys.
No.
What?
Shawn was not a rat guy.
Oh, no, not him. I meant that girls would come out to meet them and to try.
Oh,
You'd have girls going after the Rockers and Rock and Roll Express. I mean, and stuff like that.
I always think that the reason we used to go to strip clubs was there was beautiful women there that you weren't picking up. And B, when a Mark came over, you could say to him, "Hey, dude, you're in a room full of fucking beautiful naked women and you want to talk to us? Or are you just here for the $9 beers? Go shoot." And nobody would ever look at you and go, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that probably comes across really freaky, doesn't it?" Yeah, dude, we're all supposed to be, come on, we're dudes.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It was a built-in force field.
Yeah, and I remember one time me and Taker got called into the office. Principal McMahon told me and the Taker that he didn't want to see us or hear of us being in any strip clubs.
Really?
Yeah, he said it wasn't a good image for Mark and I, because we're both baby faces at the time.
Was this as he was writing out a $12 million check, or that was probably before?
No, this is this is I don't know, and I
Bad look for you guys to be in a strip club from Vince McMahon.
None of my business.
Right.
I didn't write one. So we go in. I want to think the next town that we go to is like Winnipeg, and there's a hotel that we used to stay at that had a strip joint hooked to it.
Wow, that's convenient.
Yeah. So I say, fuck this, man. I'm going to go down to strip joint. So I go downstairs, go to strip joint. And I'm looking at all strip joints are always that, like, just like vampire dark, where you're, even if you come out of out of the dark, you've still got to adjust to the strip club lighting,
Yeah.
So I sit against the wall, and I'm sitting there and looking around, and all of a sudden I just look straight across from me in the room. See this long fucking hair, see a bandana. I look over and if I could just see Taker, like we're not gonna sit with each other. We're just like, oh, so you didn't listen either.
Right. Just acknowledge that you're both on the same page.
Like,
still.
like fuck that, right, man? Like, yeah, like, come on. That was like when they told Sean that Scott couldn't ride with us because they were working the matches together, and Sean just, from 0 to 100 went to, motherfucker, you got me on the road 300 days a year, and you're gonna tell me who I can spend my time with? I'm gonna travel with hello, and Vince just kind of went like, whoa. I didn't realize it was that, like, okay. If it's that much of a deal to you three, geez, do what you want to do.
So Vince relented on that, even though they were working a program together, and let them ride together?
The match was so good, like, what are they going to do,
Yeah, because don't you think that there should be some mystique left? I know they were your friends, but don't you think there's some validity in saying, guys, for the next couple of months, can you just hang out in the hotel room?
It was, the master plan was to blow it all up with the curtain call anyway, so. Because that's all we,
It was in the works for months.
I knew the shit was a work when I was 10.
Not that anyone doesn't know it's a work,
Exactly.
but you've got to go through some of the motions. No, but no, all right.
I think you guys, yeah. Don't have a boom mic when you're doing the shot. So I say, oh, boom mic, fuck, I'm watching a movie.
Right.
Oh, he hit him 45 times in the face. There's no blood.
Mm.
That's what you're selling. You're selling the disbelief that these two guys are going out there and trying to beat each other's ass. You can tell when you have the people. When you have a hot angle and you have the people and your work's stiff, you can say what the fuck you want to about Bill Goldberg, but when he was on his streak and he went out there and he was intense, those people sat up. Because they knew because they'd already been programmed, this ain't gonna go long. It was like Tyson. It's like that it's like that when Tyson got out of jail, that white boy he fought.
Peter McNeely.
I just watched that the other night. I'm thinking, like, you talking about fucking lamb to slaughter, man. Like, wow. No, but it's just, I think that's the whole thing. Like, you want to disbelieve. Like when Edge got after Dominik last night, his first 2 or 3 blows, like, it sucked me in.
No, like, I get that. But is it okay then for the fan that watched the match to see them leave in the car together?
Well, it wasn't like you didn't have access to us. If we'd left together, like, the guy would lay in the back seat we'd pop up out of the building through a tunnel and be on the road. It wasn't like we were stopping and fucking glad handing.
So
I
you
mean,
did okay. So you
yeah,
did manage to hide it.
Yeah, we preserved it, but at the same, I mean, I've seen guys before where the fucking heels drive off, and number one, like we had no cell phones, so if you had cell phones, you could say, "Hey, let's go up the road 8 miles, and I'm looking right now. There's a Shell station. I'll get a beer there, and we'll switch cars with guys."
Right.
We could do that.
Right.
So plus everybody fucking hated us. Nobody wanted to drive with us anyway. So what the fuck does it matter?
Oh, you mean the other workers?
Yeah, I fucking hated the Kliq. That's the last thing you want to do is fucking drive with us. Yeah, let's one of these fucking pricks sit in the fucking car with us.
Why? I understand, you could right or wrong, why Vince said that, but why did Vince not want you in a strip club?
That's when we were no longer in competition with Ted Turner's wrestling. We were in competition with Disney.
So to sanitize the image, you mean?
I don't fucking know.
It's just another weird request for an athlete. Don't go to can't see the New York Giants or Phoenix Suns.
Can't smoke pot, can't do this, can't do that, and you can't look at pussy. Enjoy
that's
your
a weird one.
life.
Well, one was illegal.
And
And that was...
while you're at it, I'm going to pay you fucking shit. And
you had your 10-night guarantee with
$1,500 was a long way, and
and they had some cold cuts.
That'll buy you fucking 4 square pizzas.
Interesting though.
Back in 49.
Interesting perspective you have, because you were there in the lean years, and then when things got crazy, so you did your TV tapings with cold cuts and bread.
And not only did we did I work during the fucking lean years, I was a pretty intricate part of making sure that everybody got paid and there were good years.
Yeah,
I mean Scott and I left to get guaranteed money.
Yeah,
was a game changer.
Well, that's what I said. You bridged that gap. You were
Yeah.
there for the lean years, and then you moved.
Well, I didn't bridge it, man. I built it.
There you go. There's a shirt.
Built this city.
Merch.
Built this city on fucking rock and roll.
Let me tell you.
I'll tell you what. What would have happened? 1996. Scott Hall asked, "Hey, would you like to fucking make a move? Maybe bring your partner over? Do this NWO thing?" Scott looks at him. Fucking tired. Just fucking tired.
If Punk came on the air right now, if Phil was sitting right here, I can say Phil because I know he hates it. What would you say to him about what went on in AEW?
Well, see, my whole thing is like I look at it from a perspective because I watched Phil come back. I watched like everything he did, and he made sure that he made everybody before he beat them. Like,
okay,
he was a pro.
Mm-hmm.
He could have went out there, man, because he was his run got cut, basically politically. He just had too much fucking heat. Deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of fucking. I see a lot of me in him. I'm not going to speak for him, but he's a little bit of a prick. And so, and it wasn't like I guarantee you, if like when he had his run, he knew who was selling. I mean, like, he had the number that day of how many shirts he sold, I'm sure. So he could throw that in somebody's face if he had to. But no, he did a good job. And then he got, he got hurt, and then he came back, and I don't know the specifics. I know that the Hangman thing, the Hangman interview upset him. I think what happens when you start doing that work shoot shit, like because it's not scripted, so you do get a sunny days that can wreck somebody's fucking life at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's shit that makes you like. Now you've taken that step over the line where you've now put my relationship and my family into your fucking bullshit on television, and now I want to beat your ass.
Referencing, of course, when Shawn Michaels alluded to Bret Hart spending time with Sonny, which apparently wasn't true.
And the thing was,
she told me it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, Bret had a family and children and a wife, and I guess to have a family, you have to probably have children. Shawn was a single guy saying like he didn't have anything to lose.
Right.
So, and that's the thing with Phil is, Phil's got AJ, so she broke in. She's been through the business, so it's not like he doesn't have a smart wife. Like she knows what the deal is. So.
Yep. Well, maybe we'll get him on. We'll reach out and see what happens. Well, your public awaits, Kevin. As always, Ask Nash. You can do this yourself. Hashtag Ask Nash, and maybe you will show up on a future edition of the show, like David McKeever did when he says, "Hey, Big Sexy, my wife's mother claims you guys had a fling in high school. One night at a party, she was a little too intoxicated. You picked her up over your shoulder. She got scared and gave you a big bite on the back. Do you recall this?"
What's her name?
Well, his name is David McKeever, so it doesn't mean that's her maiden name, but he did not leave a name. Were you bit on the back by a drunk chick at a party in high school? This would be this is his wife's mother, so it wouldn't be McKeever anyway, so.
Not to sound like a complete tool, but I put Wilt Chamberlain to shame by my sophomore year in high school.
Right, so it's happened many. You've been bitten on the back many. Well, he didn't say you plowed her. Wilt was what, 10,000? I think was the number.
20,000.
20. He didn't say you drilled her. This was just a bite, but no, he said you had a fling. So I guess a fling would indicate a relationship of some kind, short-lived, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a good. I got I was at the what's the fuck name of that place? The Gold Club in Atlanta, and and I was separated from my wife at the time, and there was allegations that I had been blown in the VIPs in the VIP room. So the FBI brings me in, and they want to see whether I'm going to be a hostile or a workable witness. And the guy says to me, he goes, "Mr. Nash, were you ever given?" He says, "Now we know that you'd never paid for anything. You and Jerry Stackhouse are the only two that didn't pay for sex. But we want to know, did you?" And I said to the guy, I said, "Dude, I'm Kevin Nash. I get blown at the Waffle House. You think I'm supposed to fucking keep track of fucking all the times fucking I get blown?" The guy said, "You can leave."
That's great. So you were really brought in during an investigation,
Yeah.
that they were running a prostitution ring out of there?
Yeah.
Wow. That brings us to AJ's question, by the way. "I work at a gentleman's club in Virginia, and I'm having problems with the girls and bartenders tipping me out. Any suggestions?"
Do your fucking job. Obviously, you're not. If you, it says nowhere in your job description that you should be busting tables. But if you bust tables and pick up the beer bottles and take them back and put, like, if you help everybody, it's like your job is to make sure that everybody's job run. Make sure the girls are protected. If the girls don't feel safe, that's why you're not getting tipped out.
So there's something he's not doing. He's not doing enough to earn the tip. Okay.
And if it's just the fact that it may be just a shit club and there's no fucking money to be made.
It could be too.
You know, to go to the manager and see if you can get the minimum of the tip scale. I mean, we're at 8.3 inflation. So I mean, you know, you got. This is the thing that I always like, though. It said last night, I was watching a Republican television broadcast, and they said that the actual the salary has went up 5.4% or something like that, 5.6%, and inflation was up 8.3%. So if your salary is up 5.4% and you're down 8.3%, aren't we at, I think isn't that like a 3% difference? And isn't like 2.2 like basically where inflation is? I know that like in Florida, you can when you homestead a property, it can't go up more than 3% a year.
Correct. Yeah.
And we're at that right now. So I'm thinking to myself, like, is this just another one of these fucking working gimmicks that we just throw out there? Because it's like,
well, of course. I mean, listen, the news has to position that it's a business. Like, news is entertainment.
I know,
okay, we're at a point where news is entertainment. So,
but what happens is when you have a bunch of fucking people that don't understand how things work, like, there's no soft landing in a recession. Like, we're going to raise it another, 0.75% prime. But
the Fed, you're talking about the Fed raising.
Yeah, the Fed. Yeah, we're gonna raise another 0.75 here. But looking for maybe a soft landing into this recession.
Remember what rates were in 1980, by the way? Good. Just Dominik, look that up for me.
Here's one for you.
Your interest rates were in 1981 if you were buying a house.
See what they were when Nixon did that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, when inflation was like, oh my God, it was like, when did Nixon get impeached?
71? Uh, 71.
Hey, my son's correct me. Said he resigned. Nixon resigned.
He was impeached but resigned. He wasn't removed from office. He did resign. Okay, so Dominik, interest rate was 16.68 in 1981.
In 80?
Here it is right here. There you go. So we're quibbling right now over 3.72 on prime, or wherever we're at, or it started at 3.72. What are we at now? So I do know that from mortgage research that fucking 16.68% in 81. So I mean, what are we talking about here, guys? Historically,
well, this Biden guy,
my favorite is in Florida when they would do this shit on the pumps. You ever see it on the gas pumps when they would put the sticker of Biden pointing and it would say, like, I did this. We're in a war with Russia's in a war with the Ukraine. Okay, we're cutting off all Russian oil, and
which is the number one producer in the world. Yeah, we're cutting that out of the chain, and oh my God, I can't believe the petroleum is going up.
Ridiculous. They point to the pipe. They point to the pipeline.
Yeah,
for
is this that
justification. but-
econ? Oh yeah, let's frack and drill and do shit in the middle of our national monuments. Jesus.
Cash Money says, I love this podcast. I signed up for Twitter specifically to ask you this question. If you were in a bar or a street fight and you were outnumbered and needed help and could only have one member of the Kliq to help you, who would it be?
Scott.
Scott, right?
Yeah, Scott's a mean fucker.
Ryan from the gym. So with Big Kev being from Michigan, who did Kevin Nash root for in college football back in the day? Wolverines, Buckeyes, Spartans? How'd you end up with number 43 for basketball?
When back in the day when you played basketball, the numbers, the jerseys went up by like the guards were like 10, 5, 10, 12 because they were the smaller jerseys, and then the bigger guys were so 43 was, you could either be 43, 45 or 53. I mean we might have had 55, but I don't think we had a 55. And I thought,
Okay.
yeah, I thought 43. You add that together, it's 7. And I loved playing craps, even when I was like just a kid. I liked throwing dice, so I always thought 7 was like anything that added to 7 was lucky.
Miguel Garcia with superhero movies being the trend now. What superhero would Kevin like to play in a movie, Marvel or DC?
Probably Catwoman. I'd be like a sultry Catwoman, but like be stationed like in Buffalo, and my calling card would be like I would like throw like a catch, like it'd be a dildo, but the head of it would have a cat's face on it.
Oh, right, like almost like a grappling hook. You could stick to somebody.
Yeah, and do that, and then maybe like sneak at a home game late at night at the Bills and maybe throw one of those into the end zone.
Oh, listen, with all this dildo talk, we covered Abby's tits, dildos, and you know what? We didn't get to the Bunkhouse Stampede yet, but at least we got some more facts on it, that they started an hour and a half early.
I think what's really going to have to happen here, because I didn't realize how easy it was to get a hold of the people at the National Archives.
All right. Well, they're a little busy right now, but
well, they say that, but I went ahead and made some inquiries, and
okay.
So they said, please put it in writing. So I went ahead and had my Esquire go ahead and put it in writing because I want some specifics. I want some box, I want some gate totals, concessions. I want to see if we can find out if there's any way we can find out what the guys got paid,
Right.
where they were on the card. So this might take us some time. So instead of, saying week in and week out that we're going to do this bunkhouse thing, I think we make this the kickoff tonight. Because I mean, I've got the inquiry in.
Did you get a special master yet, though?
I don't think we're not even at that yet.
Okay.
I mean, this is going to take some time, but I think that this is kind of, I guess, the roadway to the bunkhouse.
Road to Bunkhouse Stampede begins now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think that if we're going to do this, man, it's not a joke anymore to me. I mean, this means everything to me.
Right. You're invested. I can tell.
And I just sat and watched like several episodes of Yellowstone with the actual and just really looked and watched the bunkhouse scenes.
Is this the episode that took place on Long Island?
I think everything is. I'm pretty sure that I think that the interiors are shot in Long Island, and then everything else is like British Columbia. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to be. I mean, don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that most of this It's either shot in Long Island or the Naval Shipyard. One of the two.
Right. All right. Road to the Bunkhouse Stampede. I'll take that.
Okay.
I will take that. Well, listen, guys.
It's going to be, what is it called? A mega show?
Yeah, I think a megasode. I think they call it
Megasode.
the megasode.
So that'll probably be a megasode.
And adult discussion.
Alrighty, that's good enough for me. Kliq This is a production of Butch and Sundance Media, produced in association with Podcast Heat. Producer Steve Kaufman. Title sequence and audio editing by Wesley Burleson. Graphics by Dominik D'Angelo. Theme song by Dale Oliver. Technical research by Tristan Nash. Copyright 2022, Butch and Sundance Media. Kevin, we are doing the Road to the Bunkhouse Stampede, so I'm going to assume that you want to do another one of these.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll have some kind of legal updates on where we are, and it's well, I'll wait and talk to finish this, but could we fucking be on time next week, because you got me and my son fucking a little hot on it. We get like we get a little fucking antsy if we don't have our shit ready. It's 7 o'clock.
Okay. Just go.
Fuck! We're still on the air. My bad.
Are we going round robin here with the Diva conversation, or what? You give me that. All right, guys. Next week.